Hello. My name is Matej, and I love photography. So what, you will say? There is nothing easier than being a photographer. Today, everyone has a camera, and taking photos is really not a difficult task. You just push the button, and already you have a photo. I agree. The proof for that is the enormous number of photos people take every year. On internet, pictures and video keep substituting words more and more. For me, this is great. Pictures can say more than 1,000 words. And what's more, pictures speak a universal language that everybody understands all over the world without needing a translation. If I turn back time, I can say that photography has always been my wish. But because of my problem, I've always thought that this would be impossible. Why? As you can see, half of my right arm is missing. I lost it at the age of 10 because of the accident with military bomb which I found near my home. This was definitely a painful and difficult life experience, and challenge too. Today, I can say that I have learned a lot from it. I have coped with many smaller and bigger problems ordinary people don't have. Maybe the most important lesson I have learned is that when solving a problem, you have to wait a moment, to step back, and to change the perspective. From different point of view, our values become different, and the impossible solutions become possible. Let's go back to my problem. I have a camera around my neck, and I would like to take a photo. You are so great, the event is excellent, and I wish to keep a memory. But how? I have no right hand, and the trigger is on the right side of the camera. Did you know that in the whole world it's impossible to buy a camera with a trigger on the left side? I would understand if I was the only person without the right hand, but there are thousands and thousands more. And not only that, maybe left-handed people have the same problem, which means the market is very, very big. Nikon, Canon, Sony, Olympus, and so on. Can you hear me? The customers are waiting. Never mind. I'm here to show you my solution to the problem. As I said, sometimes you just have to change perspective. Turn things upside down, make the right become the left, and make the left become the right. I'm going to demonstrate this with my camera. Look, a little magic trick, and the trigger is suddenly on the place where my fingers can press it. Can I take a picture now? Yes, please. Say cheese, please. Cheese. Great shot. I will turn around the picture later in my computer. Now, when I can press the trigger, I can focus on more important things in photography, and that are the first, composition, and the second, a content. One of the most important factors that determines each photo is, guess what? The perspective. We all know what this term means, but for me, it's much more. It's a point of view from which our eyes observe surroundings. On the other hand, it can be understood in wider sense, more psychologically, as a standpoint, a way for rational and emotional evaluation of our inner and outer world. As photographer, I want the observers to think about perspective in my photos, but not just about my perspective. I want the observers to think about their perspective as well. Before I show you the series of my photos, which is the most important part of my talk today, I need to tell you that I'm a clinical psychologist. I work in a center for education and rehabilitation dedicated to children with special needs. I would like to tell you a real story that took place in this center. About a year ago, a 12-year-old boy named Luca came to see me. He has a muscular dystrophy. It's a very, very hard disease, which makes his body grow weaker and weaker. Even for simple everyday activities like drinking, eating, putting on clothes, washing, and so on, he constantly needs help of another person. The only thing he can still do is small and weak movement with his fingers. He uses his fingers to control the joystick of his electrical wheelchair and to hold a felty pen. With the felty pen, he creates small drawings which are full of his ideas and imagination. He knows his disease, and he doesn't hide away from his destiny. He doesn't want pity, but stays positive and focused on things he can still do. In one of our conversations, he said he wanted to see the photos of himself where he would walk and do other things he cannot do in real life. I didn't expect that. I was surprised. I was afraid that he wanted to deny a reality. I was afraid that he wouldn't be happy when he saw himself in such pictures, but depressed, because he would be cruelly confronted with his condition. So, when talking to him, I was very cautious and full of doubts. But then, these doubts disappeared one after another. The imaginary world doesn't mean an escape from a reality. The imaginary world is a part of our reality. If we find an appropriate way to enter and exit this imaginary world, it can become a never-ending source of inspiration for our creativity. The next question I needed to answer was, how do I do it? I didn't want to use Photoshop montage. I wanted a simple, original, and humorous approach that isn't pathetic. I thought how to solve this problem. And then, one day, I found it. I took my camera, I climbed 3 meters high, and looked down. As always, the problems look different when looked from new perspective. Let's see what I saw from above. When Luca saw the photos for the first time, he was surprised and speechless. But in his eyes, I saw that he was very happy and satisfied that his idea became true. He became a celebrity because the photos were published all over the world. Millions of people saw them, and the response was really, really enormous. It's obvious that the story touched people. Maybe that's because Luca proved that he knows how to change life perspective. I think he challenges us to do the same in our lives. Thank you.